Hey, what's up? We're at Committed today. I am dropping the S14 off because it needs a little TLC. As I mentioned last week, the lower rad support came separated from the frame, which is really annoying, and punctured a hole in my radiator. So it's here because John's going to fabricate a section for that. But you're always working on a bunch of cool stuff. So what else do you got going on in the shop?
Luckily it's the end of the year and I'm trying to get jobs done. So it was a lot of just finish stuff off, get people their cars back, because basically the build season is just at the beginning of the year. So everybody starts bringing cars in by the drones. Like, so
what was like something what was something that you recently got done? What was the car?
Impala Dunk LS turbo swap. That just left. We got one on the dyno right now, which was a twin turbo Typhoon. We're still working out the details on that to be able to make it like fully function, because they don't make a lot of parts for that anymore. Like, so
what do we have? What do we have over here? So this is like an S14.
Yeah, S14 RB25 Neo. It was a left-hand drive converted to right-hand. Back and forth a couple times or something. So
back and forth they went from
it went from the US to ship to Japan and got shipped back to the US. So this thing's been it was actually on the cover of Turbo magazine like forever ago. Yeah, it was like purple. Yeah, now it's trying to be resurrected, I guess. So it's actually up and running now, but it does need some more work.
I don't know. Oh, there you go. So RB25?
Yeah, RB25 Neo.
That's cool. And it used to be an SR in here, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, the SRs are just slightly less reliable than RBs. So
yeah, because you would never choose an RB for your personal choice.
Like RBs are fine. You leave them alone and you leave them near stock and they do really well. You really start trying to work them hard and they have some known weak spots. So it's like,
is this stock turbo or is this?
It's all stock.
Oh,
yeah.
It's all just, so it just looks nice and painted and stuff, but it's stock.
Yeah, they painted a purple. So yeah, we've literally stock injectors. We didn't really do that much. We basically just try to get it working. So there was some, like I said, the cam sensor was no good. Side feed injectors were stuck. There's some wiring stuff going on underneath like inside the car. So we put a wiring specialties harness on it and then fix the internal stuff. It's pretty close. I said, due to the fact that some stuff has changed, like the Z32 MAF, we do have to do some tuning. It does actually run okay.
Oh, cool. What else? Yeah. What's this S10 up here?
That is actually used to be my truck years and years and years ago. It was a drift truck. Now it actually has a F22 S2000 turbo. Huh. So it's a 6-speed like S2000 turbo setup. So I got on the dyno, it ran out of fuel because it was a returnless fuel system. So basically when the turbo would kick in and the injectors open up, the fuel would dip. So we're gonna put a return system on it and then retune it and bring the boost back up. So and then he can go take it to the body shop.
This is your RX7 that I got to drive once, which was pretty funny because the first time I drove it, I had like zero warm up and I was supposed to do this drift demo at Langley Speedway and it was pretty cool. I mean, like I warmed the tires up and then got pretty high on the bank on a car that I'd never driven before and sending it in fourth gear. It was cool. But again, I had total trust in John because I know the quality of cars that he builds and the setup. It was easy to just put my foot to the floor when I had to. So, but you're doing something to this, right?
Yeah, I've had this car for a long time, and every time I bring it out, which is far and few between, I figure out what I dislike about it the most, and you try to make a change, make it better every time you take it out. You're like, all right, well, I did better and the car did this, like what can we do to make it better? So it's been getting better over the years. So I think the last time you drove it, it was still in a T56. I put a dog box in it, like a high tower dog box, and that was a great change for it because that was like the last thing that was kind of irritating me, except for the roll cage. Roll cage was you know, 10 years ago I put it in there, and it's a one-piece A-pillar.
Yeah, this is like a pretty.
It's one-piece halo.
This is like a pretty intense. It like looks really thick compared to other roll cages.
It's really old, and it's a really old way of doing it. So I want to cut it out and get some more headroom, and then redo it. So
like, yeah, I don't think you even need the X bar on the top, right? Or do you? You don't need this.
That is gonna be there because of road race. I did time attack, and it's not mandatory, but it's a sunroof. So if you blow the sunroof out, whatever you're rolling over on is coming right through. So putting that bar is just to protect in case of rollovers if something tries to puncture the roof. There's something there other than a giant opening. But yeah, I said the car works good. Suspension, engine, drivetrain, everything was working great. It was just, you have to sit really low to see over the dash. And it was getting old. I was like, out of everything that I could change, seating position would be the best thing to do. So just redo the cage and then, you know, get my seating position where I feel comfortable, and that's it. Like, then I'll go beat it up some more.
And that makes sense. And like, so you know, for someone that's never seen this car before, I mean, this is like a carbon fiber door, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you know, what is this, an LS something?
Just an LS1. It said it's been together for years. I bought a wrecked 2002 SS Camaro and pulled the drivetrain out of it. Just redid the heads, ported heads, big comp cam, extreme thumper, LS2 intake, and it's said some things have changed over the years to make something a little bit better here, a little bit better there, as you realize what you like and what you don't like. I said, and I let a couple different drivers, like pro drivers, drive it. So when that happens, different people like different settings. So for instance, like something that's weird over the brake booster, like I'm a heavy-footed left foot braker, and I tend to nosedive the car really bad. So I turn the ball valve off on the booster just so that I'm a little more, you know, controlled when I left foot brake. But then like Dan and Austin and stuff, they liked having the booster hooked up. So it was like, you know, different preferences. Since other drivers did it, I just kind of made a little tweak like that.
So yeah, this thing's cool. So you can basically turn your booster on and off with just this little valve. Yeah,
I said it was a preference thing. Like, because they drive it and they liked it, and I drive it, but I'm a little harder on my footing. I just did that as I swung out to Home Depot, grabbed the ball valve and put it in line, and that was basically it. So I can just turn the booster on and off just to calm it down for my footing versus somebody else's. But if you really wanted to go out and run, like, I don't know, like just a time lap or something, you still have all your brakes, you know. It's just, with this thing does have big brakes, so they are like, they're cold temp pads, so they do bite in very quickly. So with my clumpy foot and like big brakes, it just it kind of wanted to nosedive really hard because I'm too quick on it. So. And
you designed the suspension, at least the front, on like yourself.
I don't think you'd be able to see it. Yeah. But yeah, it's all custom control arms, knuckles, everything like that. Very Wise Fab-esque as far as like design wise, because I've dealt with a lot of their stuff. So it's plasma cut, lower control arm, 3/4 control arm, and then 1/4-inch fabricated knuckle. The top stuff is all just tubing. That's actually more like sprint car style because it's just all swedge bar design. But yeah, it works really good. I said I did that years ago, and that was actually the first try ended up being exactly what I wanted. It was literally just change a little toe setting, and the tires lay over just the way I want them. I never change it. The flares have been blown off about 50 times. But, you know, the body style has to be updated here because it's been looking like this for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. We'd love to see like a really big wide body kit on this thing and make it look even more aggressive.
Yeah, said it could be. I said originally the flares were put on because when I did the suspension, I wasn't sure how it was going to work, so I just cut the fenders and actually drove the car, and it worked. So then I went and bought the typical 240 flares and put them on there. But if you smash them, they just shatter all over the place. So it was just a temporary fix. It worked. The suspension worked. Yeah, it's been on there for a while, so it's like it's time for it to get updated. The vinyl's been on there for so long, it's all starting to peel. Yeah. So it's time for a revamp.
Or are you selling this still, or do you want to keep this?
Everything's always for sale. So I wanted to build another chassis, something newer, because this one I've had for a long time. But basically, I mean, I found tire kickers. You know, I don't have to sell the car. So when I put it up for a reasonable price at like 25,000, and no real buyers were coming to me for it. They were kind of, the kids that liked FDs and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I don't have to sell it. I'm not selling it just to sell it. Like, I'll let it go for the right price. And I think that was a fair price. So
yeah, I mean, again, this is like a dog box, like a completely really well set up drift car. That's definitely, I mean, I think to be Pro-Am legal, you probably need a few safety things, like fire suppression.
Fire suppressions and stuff.
Oh, you have a fire. Oh, he has fire. All right, drive shaft loop.
Yeah, drive shaft loops. Carbon fiber drive shaft.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. Wow, that's really interesting.
Quick time bell housing and
Oh, you have the QuickTime bell housing.
yeah,
Okay.
High tower top load dog box and carbon fiber Exidy twin disc, the XD40 or whatever twin disc.
Oh, it's a
yeah.
twin disc? Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So
drive
you-
shaft shop axles,
Nice.
like big brakes front and rear. Not that I needed it.
Yeah.
They are the old style Megan coilovers. The reason I say that is the 52 mil, the larger body ones. So Fortune revalved them years ago with new Penske valving, and so it's all Swift springs and Penske valving in old Megan bodies. So it's like, even though they're older Megan coilovers, they're actually very functional. So
I mean, yeah, because the body's just a piece of metal. It's really the internals that actually.
yeah,
make
and
the-
because it wasn't the newer 48 mil like mass-produced China style body that everybody uses now, it was the older version. It actually used the standard motorsport Penske sizings, so they were able to just pull these apart and
revalve
rebuild
it.
them.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice. That's really cool. So yeah, I mean, 25K for a Pro-Am capable car, and honest, you actually have one of the top drifting records as a shop, right? I mean, you have a Pro 2 championship, you have 3 different Pro-Am championships with me, with Austin, and with Dan.
Yes, yeah, because
I mean,
rapper Dan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how many other people can say that?
Yeah, no. I said it's about building programs is what it is. I said how far you want it to grow is up to you, but yeah, it's like getting to work with the drivers, getting to work, set the programs up, and then taking it to where everybody wants to go is kind of what we do. Like there's drift shops, there's car shops, but there's program building shops. And I said we try to build programs and setups. Cars are part of it, but there's a lot more involved behind the scenes to actually make all this stuff happen. So.
Yeah, my point is, if you want to be a competitive drifter, John's the guy to talk to, because he set my car up phenomenally. When we unloaded this car at Battle on the Bay in 2020, it was already 80% of the way there, and we had the wrong gear in the car. And then that gear change took it to 100%, and it was super consistent and awesome. And like that's the reason I won. It was because I was consistent driving a consistent car, right? But none of that would have been possible without John. So yeah, here's the next Pro-Am championship winning car if you want to buy it from him. Like,
The old girl.
yeah. Well, old but new, right?
Yeah. And I'm gonna revamp it. I don't know. They said race cars are one of those things where if you had a few, you don't. Like I said, that's something that you're willing to trade up on. And I've had this car. I've had a bunch of FDs. So this one I've had for a long time, and I've beaten up and had a good time with it. And I was debating going to a new chassis because of like the Cadillac I built for Austin. I was debating doing an ATS, but at the same time, this one does drive really nice. So it's like the limited amount of time I do get to actually go out on the track, it does do very well, other than the seating position. So fix the seating position, fix the roll cage, and then it'd be good to go. So